All right. So I'll give us a countdown and then we get to go.
All right.
All right. So three, two, one. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner. So, if you've really been tapping into my Facebook Lives or my live episodes just in general, you'll actually be pretty familiar with this name because he's literally been interacting with every single episode that we've had recently, man. And I love it. Just one, because he's made the content just a little bit easier for me because I'm able to kind of throw questions or throw feedback at people on the spot. But two, man, I really just got to give a big shout out to my bro DeAndre, man. I'm very happy that he's on the platform. As I was even telling him earlier today, like it felt like so long ago that he scheduled this interview, and at the time he did, August seems so far away. But now we're here, we're live and direct, and I mean, people hearing this like live, you'll know that it's August. But when this interview is aired, it won't even be August anymore. That just really goes to show you how much time has passed and things have gone. But nonetheless, the grind is still there and everything like that. So me and DeAndre, man, we go way back to the ECU, to the alma mater days. Shout out to East Carolina University,
Yes, sir.
Greenville, Carolina. Shout out to my boy Dre, really, for bringing us together. His name is
Yeah,
also DeAndre.
DeAndre.
So a lot of ties to the 2-5 and a lot of ties just to some good people. But nonetheless, we were able to stay in contact. I was able to kind of politic with him, figure out what he has going on, what he's been doing, the impact he's been making in people's lives. And he's been following the podcast. As I said, he's been showing love. He's been making everything happen. So really excited for him to get into all things, how he can be a resource to you, how he can be a plug for you, and even how he can really just show support and love, because that's something that he does just genuinely and authentically. But before we get into all things, before I bring everybody up to speed and we're all just rocking and rolling with the interview, Dre, how you doing today, man? How's everything on your end? How you been, bro?
Hey man, all I can say is I'm blessed by the best, man. Everything is lovely. Life is going, life is growing, and I'm excited about the ups. I'm even excited about the downs, man, because during those downs is when the grind really happens and you really start to build that character and build yourself when you go through the hard times. So definitely even excited about those, but everything is lovely, man.
Come on, man. I love that. Somebody looked at me crazy when I told them that, just as as emphatic and as enthusiastic as you are when things are going well, when business is booming, when those numbers are looking right, you have to
Hmm.
have that same appreciation and that same grind when things aren't looking so right. Because
Right.
nobody likes, obviously, when business is not doing what we want it to do. But that should just give you an appreciation for it. It could just let you know that, one, it's not going to be like this forever, but two, it'll give you even more of a blessing when you make it out of that. Tough times don't last, but tough people do for sure. So I
Yeah.
love to hear that, bro. That through it all, you're just remaining grateful, you're remaining humble, and
Yeah. Yep.
it's exciting to see. So, as I spoke to in the beginning, bro, we have a lot of ties, man, from North Carolina, ECU, and everything like that. So I know
Yep.
we're gonna have a crazy crowd tapping in with us. I know we're gonna have some people from your side, from my side, the
Yes, sir.
mutual from both of our sides, but we're also gonna have some new people along the way. Some people who know probably nothing about neither one of us, but came across this episode in some form, in some fashion. So to bring everybody up to speed, to put everybody on the same page and on the same playing field, just do two things for me. One, tell me a little bit about yourself, and then two, tell me what brings you on the Down to Business podcast today.
Well, first of all, starting off again, just in case you didn't see the name. My name is DeAndre Pierce. I am I guess a multi-entrepreneur businessman, I guess you can say. I got multiple businesses right now going. I do anything from Airbnb to financial services. I help a lot of single people, families, even businesses just kind of grow and expand their business, especially on the financial side. And I just also just like helping, other entrepreneurs, man, just kind of find that motivation, find the time to, increase their wealth, increase their mindset, increase, their physical wealth as well. Cause look, health is wealth, man. Health is wealth. So staying in the gym, staying active, always constantly grinding because the grind don't stop. And I don't care who tell you, the grind never stops. So with that being said, I'm just one of those people who love the grind, who love motivating people, who love seeing people succeed and do better with their life. And I'm just somebody who just want to take the time to get on the Down to Business podcast because I see my boy Tamar and I love the fact that he started it and just kept going. Because I remember when he first started it, the first couple episodes, the first few people, and he just kept being consistent with it. And just when seeing him be consistent with it time and time again, I was like, I need to get in contact. I need to start showing support. I need to start showing up, and I need to just be around this guy because this is somebody who obviously knows what he wants to do and he's doing it regardless of what's happening, regardless of who's saying something to him, who's been in his ear. He's somebody who I seen just constantly just continue to grind And I love that. And I will continue to support that to the day I die. I promise you. So again, my name is DeAndre Pierce. I'm a big fan of the Down to Business podcast. And hey, let's talk business.
All right, now see, and what's so crazy about this too, kind of how Dre is giving y'all like his background and letting y'all really know how this came to fruition. DeAndre actually commented on one of my statuses. I feel like it was an accolade or we had done something. I don't know if it was from the plays or the followers or something I had posted. Yeah. And he commented, but he apologized. And he apologized for not being as tapped in as he wanted to be and just for kind of going ghost and everything like that. I was just taken aback because I was just like, man, like the fact that you even commented and saw this and showed love to it, that's enough for me. That put a smile on my face. That's a blessing just the same. So the fact that, there are people out there who are rooting for you, who are gunning for you. Y'all may not talk every single day. Y'all may not interact all the time, but there are people out there who are just in your corner, however y'all became acquainted, whether it be school, work, friend of a friend, passing by in the street or anything like that. There are real life connections out here, but there are also real life people out here who are doing amazing things, as you spoke to, from an Airbnb perspective, from a financial perspective, just wanting to really help, just wanting to be that light, that resource, that blessing to others that you necessarily didn't always have, or that you sometimes had to go through some trials and tribulations to really figure out what was going on and what was happening. So, all right, you said a lot in the beginning, so I just want to dive right in. So financial now. So where did this, obviously we know that there are just certain traits that you possess. There are just certain things that you like, you want to do, just certain things that are instilled in you. But when it came from a financial perspective, how did this really come about? Was this something that you were kind of just starting to seek education about? Was this something that you studied? Was this kind of your bread and butter? And then you decided to just be a resource to others? Was this a personal experience where people kind of come into you? Because oftentimes on this podcast, we recognize that a lot of people propel themselves into business or their brand or what they're doing because maybe of a problem that couldn't be solved, or maybe they even had a personal thing themselves. So for you, as you step into this, as you've done what you're doing, as you've done what you've done already, but you're continuing to do what you do, how did it start? Where did all this really begin?
Well, to be honest with you, man, and I like to keep as real as possible, man. I was broke. I was broke. You can't fake the funk, man. You cannot fake it. Just like a lot of other people going through the things that they're going through right now that might have been hard times. I know I was one of those people, especially like during the pandemic, man. When we go back to the pandemic, I was actually still working at this point. I was actually still working. I was an essential worker, so my work didn't stop because of COVID. Yay. But man, just doing it every day, just going in, man. And I was working at this, actual pharmaceutical manufacturing plant, just every day, going in, working 12, 14-hour days. And I just got to the point where I was on a lunch break, believe it or not, and I was on Facebook. And I seen something where they had, Facebook gaming at the time. And then I knew about streamers, but I did not know about online game streamers. But then when I actually seen somebody actually stream online, and I looked at what they was doing, and they was playing Call of Duty because I like play Call of Duty a lot. And I was looking at them playing, I was like noticing, hey, people sending them money. Are they getting paid to do this? Then I realized they get paid for followers, they get paid for subscribers, they get paid for the likes. I'm like, what? I'm sitting here working 14-hour days while somebody at home playing Call of Duty getting paid. I looked around like I just discovered a miracle. I'm like, anybody else see this stuff? And that's what really kind of sparked that journey for me. Basically, is trying to be entrepreneur and really just trying to get out that 9-to-5 work life, and just trying to find my own thing, find my own way to build. And it just started from there. Of course, I ain't gonna go all in detail because we ain't got enough time to go through my struggles. Okay, we just ain't got it. But just to kind of sum it all up, I got to a point where I end up losing that job because of the whole COVID thing. I end up losing in a marriage, man. It was a whole backstory. But to sum it again, I was broke, man. I needed money. I'm 3 months behind on mortgage. Okay. And I just, the only thing I could do is go back to one of my first original jobs, was working at Starbucks, man. So imagine have to pay a mortgage where you make $12 an hour. That was super fun. So from there, still try to do the online streaming thing while trying to do my own thing. So I would start working back at Starbucks, and I just started off with like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and stuff like that. Something where it's building my character and just building, like doing my own thing. Because I knew I was not going to stay at Starbucks. I knew that for sure. I made a promise myself I was not going to get stuck here, right? Because you can't you don't want to go backwards, right? And I got up to a point where I had a house, I was married, I had a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm not trying to lose whatever I had left at this point. And when you're broke, and I'm sure a lot of people might be able to relate to this. When you're broke, when you're down, when you have nothing coming in, you have no idea how you're going to eat the next day, your mind gets creative. Okay. Your mind gets creative. And don't ask me why, but for whatever reason, for months, I was in this house by myself for months at this point. And I'm 3 months behind on my mortgage by this point. And it finally clicked in my mind like, hey, I got all this space to myself. I either need to get a roommate to help pay for some of these bills. I don't really want a roommate. So what else? What else is there? What else out there? And for out of nowhere, man, you go through YouTube and you seeing different things, especially when you start looking up business stuff. You're gonna find something, right? And I seen something dealing with Airbnb. And I just started watching videos and started learning about Airbnb. And I started reaching out to people who had businesses that might know something about Airbnb. And I just found myself, I'm like, okay, well, only thing I can see happen now is I started Airbnb and I don't know, somehow make some money. So that just started with that. I literally took the worst pictures you can think of. I mean, I had like an old iPhone. I don't know what it was, 7 at a time. I don't know. It was old. It was old iPhone. I took like some of the worst pictures, worst lighting, and I just put them up on my Airbnb. I did not realize I actually made my Airbnb go live. I didn't realize that. I thought I just had it sitting there. Plus, I didn't think anybody would even book. Look at these pictures. You're not gonna stay here. But lo and behold, later, I think maybe three days later, somebody instant booked. If you know anything about that, somebody instant booked on Airbnb, and I'm just chilling in the house. I'm having a good old time, and I don't know what I get a message saying, "Hey, can I check in early?" I'm like, "Who? Huh? What?" And it was weird because that my first guest actually had the same name as me. It was another DeAndre. So I'm like, okay, I don't know who playing this game with me. I'm looking around like, is this a joke? But nah, that person was serious. That person like, hey, I need to check in early because I'm already here in Greenville. So I had two options here. I really was considering saying, nah, man, I can't do it because just wasn't ready. I just posted pictures and I didn't know how it was gonna work. I didn't know if I really wanted to do it. But I had that moment of myself, and everybody's gonna have that moment, especially when you down and you ain't got no choice. You're gonna have that moment where you tell yourself, either it's time to fold or we gonna make it happen, no matter what. And I decided to say, oh, you know what? I'm gonna make it happen. And I invited the guest over, great guy, again named DeAndre, so it was super weird but cool at the same time. And I just was honest with him, like, hey man, I'm gonna let you know, I appreciate you very much because you're my first guest, man. Congratulations. And it just started from there, man. And I was even adding stuff into the room, like I brought in a mini fridge and everything. I bought a new TV. I was doing everything I needed to do to make it happen because that was like $500, okay, for somebody who had no money. And I'm just chilling because I'm like, the light's gonna get turned off at some point. I might well enjoy it while I can, right? So $500 on my first guest, man, and stay for a couple days, and I was hooked after that. So that started the journey into Airbnb, which led again into that financial industry because again, it's money, right? I needed money. I like learning about money. I like growing, and it just kind of sparked I guess the mission to learn about one, generational wealth, and two, never going broke again. So I learned about sales along with Airbnb, which led into the sales. So it all kind of folded from that. I hope I answered that question.
No, absolutely, and it really just helps to know the journey, to know the backstory to it, to really know that, as you said, when you're on your last, when you wake up, that almost kind of took me back to some grad school days at some point, where I went from working 3 jobs to all of them through the university, and once classes were done, the jobs were done. So you talk about being somewhere, being away from home, being by yourself, and still having to fend for yourself, have to shop for yourself, have to eat for yourself, still have to go to class, have to do these stories, have to get to the stories, because grad school, they're not holding your hand anymore. They're not trying to walk you through anything. So you have to figure out how you're going to Uber, how you're going to live, or if you could hack a ride somewhere or do something like that. So it's just like, it's very interesting. But as you said, when you're down on your last and you have to make ends meet, or you have certain deadlines or certain bills that just have no waiting period. You're gonna figure out some things. You're gonna get on that YouTube universe, go down that dark hole and figure out what's next, or where do I need to be, or what am I doing? So no, to really hear that, and to really hear that in a sense, like somebody almost like y'all both took a leap of faith in a sense, like he didn't really know kind of what was going on with the Airbnb, probably saw the listing. You'd be surprised, for you, how critical you were of the photos and everything like that. Even in this day and age, I've clicked on some Airbnbs and it's just like, how did they even let you list this? This is like, it shouldn't be, up here. But it just goes to show you that, everybody has that starting point. But for you, it was almost like a miracle. And it was almost just like, wow, you didn't really know. You thought it was a joke. You didn't really take it serious at first. And it was just like, come on. But as you really realize the blessing, and as you start to see things come to fruition, you're like, okay, hold on, this is something different now. Let's really revamp this thing and let's really make something happen from it. So at what point did you really realize that you wanted to make a business out of this, because it's one thing to make a list and people can invest, people can do, there are probably people out there right now that have Airbnb or Airbnbs and don't necessarily consider themselves a brand or a business, but more so maybe just trying to do something on the side, make some money, supplement some things, pay some bills, do whatever. But at what point did you really realize that you wanted to really go all in on this? Was it after this client that things start to pick up? Did it motivate you to kind of do more? Because even as you said, you started to add stuff from the TV to the mini fridge to really let's really make this thing come together. So where along at what point did you start to really realize, okay, like, hey, this can really make some money. If one customer is bringing that in, then if I keep listing this, if I keep making it happen, if I keep making improvements and enhancements, we can really make some money from this. When did that light bulb go off for you?
I'm going to answer that, but I first want to address this. What y'all don't know is, see, y'all wasn't there, ECU. Y'all wasn't there. My boy was only in like maybe 3 places. Either he was at the gym playing ball or he was working. Well, he was at the gym playing ball, working, or in class. Now, he hanging out a little bit, but my man was on it. Now I ain't forget that. I definitely knew that for a fact. So I just want to let y'all know he real now. He not just somebody get up on his podcast and just ask questions. Now he was doing it, okay, for a long time. But just to answer your question, it really started. It was after the first guest, because you thinking it's a fluke, it ain't gonna happen again. Plus, I had like maybe 5 days right after he left, and he extended his stay, so his was like a week and maybe a little bit after. But after he extended his stay, I didn't have anybody booked for like 5 days. So now I was freaking out. So I'm like, dang, was that it? Is that all it's gonna be? And then I even, I'm reaching out to friends that got other Airbnbs too, because it's somebody who I trusted and I talked to about it. It's like, you know what, don't worry about it. It happens sometimes. Just keep going. Just know somebody's gonna come. And literally, like maybe not even a whole day after that conversation, somebody booked. I think by that second guest booking, I think that's when it clicked for me. It's like, okay, people want to stay here. Okay, people, for whatever reason, I got a second person. If I got the first person and then I end up getting the second person too, they're gonna be a third. So from that point on, it kind of just clicked in my mind, like, okay, I need to go ahead and LLC. All right, I need to go ahead and establish myself. I need to go ahead and get my mindset in the spot that it needs to be, because I have 3 bedrooms and I'm only renting out 1, and I just made over $500. So I didn't have another bed in that second bedroom at the time. So I was like, okay, I just need to get a second bedroom. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, if I'm staying there at the time, I'm renting out 1 bedroom. Only 1 bedroom, y'all. Only 1 bedroom. If I rent out a second bedroom, I can double my money here. We talking about mortgage paid, okay? I'm getting excited. You talking about, because when you ain't have nothing, you talking about now I can double my money just by adding a bed and a TV or something. But let me tell you, I door dashed so much. Okay, I was at Starbucks happy, flinging coffee out the window. Heck, I was probably giving stuff out for free. If you see me there in Greenville, North Carolina, by ECU, right close to the school, you probably see my face, and I was giving that stuff out for free. So you missed out if you wasn't there. But no, I definitely made as much money as I could. I saved it, and I started, adding on to the second room, and then I doubled my money. So I'm like, well, dang, I need to get out the house so I can triple my money. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I knew it was a business out, and I started talking about it then, because I started talking about people I was working with and different things like that now. And just trying to find other people like-minded, and with you, I'm pretty sure you can understand. It's not easy. It's not easy finding other people with that same mindset, with that same drive, with that same, go get a spirit. Like there's a lot of people that say that, but there's not a lot of people that actually do it. So that's why I appreciate you a whole lot, because I see you do it. And I'm talking about it, man. I'm trying to find other people like-minded just so I can see what else can I do now that I've started this brainchild. Now I know I have a business and I know it's working. I know it's gonna work as long as I keep it working, right? As long as I keep guests happy and I keep them going. I just need to get out the house. I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and be honest with you, it's still staying booked now. I can barely even rent out the whole house, which I want to do, but people just been booking, man, left and right since I started, bro. And this is over 2 years ago. So I barely had an empty room since I started this thing. And I didn't realize that most people don't book room by room. You got some people that do it, but it's not a lot of us. And I end up leaving the house to book out the whole house, each room individually. And I end up moving up to Raleigh, North Carolina. And I got into the Raleigh Airbnb Facebook group, which is here's a key point to a lot of you entrepreneurs out here. Facebook groups. Listen to me. Join groups. Find as many people like-minded trying to do what you're trying to do, or just join groups that with businesses where you can get ideas of what you want to do. But anyway, back to the point. I joined the Airbnb Facebook groups and I just put out there, hey, I'm new. Thank you for having me. I rent out this listing. I have 3 listings, right? And I rent out room by room. I'm thinking other people do this. I'm thinking this is a normal thing because I really haven't a chance to interact with other people in the Airbnb space. Kind of find out, no, not a lot of people doing room by room. And now I get bombarded with questions all the time about how do I do it? So, in a nutshell, the idea, it clicked for me, knowing that I had something after the second guest that led to opening up the whole house eventually, and that led to me getting into these Facebook groups and learning that I do something that most people don't do, which means what? I can now solve problems. So here's another key for a lot of you entrepreneurs out there, especially ones that want to get started. Once you learn how to solve a problem, you have a business. You can make money. All you have to do is find a problem and solve it. You can make money. So I hope I answered the question. I like to go off in tangents. I'm sorry, but
That's fine, because I feel like with each, you want to call it a tangent, I just call it that's a part of the journey. That's a part of the story that it would led to what it is now. So, but I'm big on that. A lot of, as I kind of spoke to before, as I was asking the question, a lot of what propels business, what propels LLCs, product services, are either people having a personal problem themselves that they found no solution for and they wanted to take matters into their own hands, or they saw a commonality amongst people.
Mhm.
This person is having that problem. This person is having that same problem. So is he, so is she, so are they, so is that. Okay, well, if everybody is having it, then there must not be a succinct solution here. Let me come into play now. Let me do something. So as you said, that why a lot of times is the solving of said problem, or it's more so you came in with one aspect. You came in just because you were on your last. You were trying to get that mortgage paid. You were trying to make shake and bake. You were trying to put some income into DeAndre's pocket, into his life. And now all of a sudden you join a group and you realize that where you were coming for advice and insight and gems. Oh, now people are coming to me for. I thought I was the novice. I thought I was a new person, but now each one teach one type of mentality. So I love to hear that just the same, because it's just like you never know what to expect until you really put yourself out there. And a lot of times until you surround yourself with that like-minded, which is a difficult thing to do, and it can deter you. It can discourage you a little bit when you feel like there's nobody out there, or there are not people out there that can resonate with what you're doing, or resonate maybe with what you're saying, or maybe you just feel like your network is just not on that time or on that grind. Because as you said, the grind does not stop. We go to bed, we end this interview, we experience tomorrow, we go into the weekend, the grind is still going. It's to the point now where you said that thing is booked and busy. So even with you being a city over, you still have to make sure that things are taken care of, that it's clean, that people aren't messing up, that people aren't damaging properties, because that's a whole nother discussion. For yourself, you know what I'm saying? Just dealing with people not staying in their own things, because people, they're going to treat your stuff like it's the bottom of the barrel and it could be the nicest thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. So, okay. So now as we continue to fast forward, as you're gaining this traction, as you're getting more gems, you're in the groups, you're realizing that you're even able to give some people some insight and really some tips and tricks as to how you kind of made it happen. What was next on your docket? What was something that, as you got into the Airbnb, the more comfortable you got with it, the more, success you had with it. why did you continue to keep going? Why didn't you just really hone in on that and really just keep taking properties? Why did you decide to kind of, well, I guess I kind of answered that a little bit, but why did you, in a sense, why did you start to pivot? Why did you start to get into different industries and get into different lanes rather than just kind of capitalizing on one?
Great question. What a lot of it is, if I already had something going in Greenville, North Carolina, this is what Airbnb is. Then I come to Raleigh, North Carolina. Unless you, especially in like by this time, it's like end of 2022, maybe going in 2023 at that point. Unless you got a lot of money stacked up, you getting a house, especially in the Raleigh area, it's gonna be a little difficult. So that's when I really had to pivot. Like Greenville is still a decent place if you want to actually invest into it. I do recommend still Greenville. Greenville's a great place to start investing. Um, However, if you're in Raleigh, North Carolina, it's a little different ball game. It's a little bit oversaturated with Airbnbs as well. So in my mind, I'm like, what can I do? Because I don't got a lot of lump sum capital sitting around, right? Because I'm still trying to, pay down debts and keep a mortgage going and keep all this stuff going. So what else is there for me to do? So once I got into the Airbnb Facebook groups and I'm looking at everybody else's Facebook and heard them talk and stuff like that, something clicked in my mind that I know I needed, because since I wasn't there at the Greenville property myself anymore, I had to make sure somebody took the trash to the road to get picked up on time. And I started thinking about that. Mom's like, it's probably some other Airbnb hosts out here that need that same thing. So I decided, while I was still working a full-time job, okay, working at 7 to 3 p.m., 8 hours work days. I'm out there sitting thinking, I'm like, I think I can make some money because it's a problem. I've done this already. I just solve a problem. So I started thinking to myself, like, I wonder how much I can make moving a trash can. I mean, it's super easy. It's something I can do on the side, right? And I went through some numbers. I'm like, well, that's not worth it. And that's not worth it, especially going through the Raleigh traffic. I don't know if anybody been to Raleigh or Durham, anything like that, but the traffic is trash. Okay, it's trash. I started thinking to myself, what can I do? And I came up with a price that I was set on. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but what I did was I knew if I build it right, that's the mindset. If you build it, they're going to come. Very old, very simple. If you build it, they will come. You just got to believe in it, right? And I decided to put it out there in the groups like, hey, I offer a trash can service. I know some other hosts might need it. I will DM you or let me know if you're interested. And I had a couple people be interested. And I just messaged them and say, hey, I do this trash can service where I make sure the trash get taken out on time. $85 a pop. And somebody said yes. And it was down. Once you start with the one, once you get the one, I promise you the rest will come. So if anybody starting that business, anybody got that idea in their head, just understand this. And I promise you, you're going to hear from other people too. Just start. Once you start and you get that first client or you get that first business opportunity, I promise you more will come. I can't explain it to you no better than that. More will just come. And from there, and we haven't been a whole year yet doing this, by the way. We at 23 properties now. Making it $85 pop, a little bit more because we do some extra stuff. But again, this is just another side business, right? Outside of the Airbnb. It's still in the Airbnb space, right? So I'm still in Airbnb. I might not have my own here in Raleigh, but I'm helping other hosts because I'm solving a problem for them. And which is there's still many more things that other Airbnb hosts need. So if you're looking at this and watching this back in the future tense, we know you do look at it. Just know there's still a chance for you to get out to the Airbnb host into the Airbnb space and find a problem that they need fixing. Like, whether it's just putting furniture together. Believe it or not, they got a thing called TaskRabbit. You can do TaskRabbit or beyond TaskRabbit. If you got a car and you don't want to do Uber Eats and stuff, believe it or not, there are hosts that's trying to do like their own car service. Like if somebody want to rent a car in like the what's called the turbo space, not turbo space, but Turo space, yeah, in the Turo space. Believe it or not, just rent out a car, and it don't have to be the most grandest car ever. Just something very basic, plain simple, plain Jane, get you from here to there in good condition. I promise you, you will make money. So there's millions of ways to make money, and I'm just talking about one particular way in the Airbnb space, which is still still huge. Even beds. Some people flip beds, believe it or not. People sell beds to Airbnb hosts and make money like that. They rent out beds. It's the thing. So it's possible.
It's a lot out here, man. And
Yeah.
just to put it into perspective for y'all a little bit, he said that he charges $85 a pop for 23 properties that he's at right now. 23 times 85 is 1,955. So just wanted to throw some numbers out there. I'm a math guy, so just wanted to, in case we pique anyone's fancy or and gain any interest or anything, just to allow you to really realize, there is everything out there. A lot of people are doing the affiliate marketing, the digital marketing, the content creation, the influencer. There are so many streaming, and you spoke a lot about that. I didn't really realize how lucrative esports and just that industry was really until I went to grad school and until I met a dude. Shout out to Dom. He was so good at Fortnite. We would just go to his house and go to his room and just watch him play for hours. And this dude was ranked. This dude was just making it look easy, and he was making money. And that's eventually what he went on to like study and really just be good at. But to now see, these Twitch streamers and these people making real life thousands and millions, and even some of my close people do this stuff and they're on every day. And sometimes you laugh at it, but it's just like, no, these people are from the comfort of their homes making great money. So as you said, I feel like there are so many different niches out there. It's more so just about exposing yourself to it, or what may seem silly, or what may seem like, oh, I don't want to do that, or I'm gonna get laughed at or made fun of. It could be the reason how your rent or your mortgage gets paid next month. So you'd really be surprised with putting yourself out there, what sometimes making yourself uncomfortable does. Because as you spoke to, all it takes is one. It just takes that one person, because then that one person has a network, and that one person has mutuals and word of mouth and everything like that. And even if it's not even anything where they can bring you something from a referral perspective or add to the business, they add to it because they bring you motivation. Because as you said, this went from a thing of he put the pictures up. He's like, I don't really think it's going to do too much. But that one person lit a fire in him. And now he's just like, okay, well, what can I do to spruce this up? What can I do to make this look better? What can I do to make sure that the next person wants to come and has a great experience? Or the person who's here now, they extend their stay. What can I do to get myself out this house so I can now triple my money, double my money, triple my money? So it also gets your brain to start thinking too, okay, if I did this one time with this situation and how I was set up now, imagine what I could do if I wasn't even here. Imagine what I could do if I rent out this whole thing. And then imagine what I could do if I'm a assistant and a light and a plug to other people. Oh, it's either than that. Now we're starting to talk. Now we're starting to get some things off the ground. So, but I love that, because it'll really go to show the beauty of the journey. And as you said, it'll even speak to your appreciation. You're appreciating the good with the bad, the pretty with the ugly, the high with the low. You have to take each in stride, but you have to take it all. You can't just say, oh, when I'm getting booked and busy, oh, I'm praising the Lord, I'm singing, I'm doing this and that. But on my slow months, I'm just like, you still have to have that same energy. You still have to move and you move, because as you said, the grind don't stop. You take a slow month and you decide to just fall back, or what's going to get even slower for you. But you take that slow month and you tell yourself, hey, I never want to have a month like this, and I'm gonna grind to make sure I don't. The ball is in your court at that point. So I love to hear that. So okay, so now that you've relocated, now that you're in a different place, but you have a listing here, now that you have responsibilities here, now that you're offering a service and you're helping people out, what were you thinking? Were you starting to feel overwhelmed? Were you starting to just have to feel like you needed to automate things? You needed to delegate things? Were you starting to want to bring other people in? Is this something where you wanted to venture? Because as you said, you had a community. You built a community. You inserted yourself into a community, and everybody was probably at a different space and a different place there. So as you started to gain this traction, as you started to gain the success, but also at the same time be a resource and a light to others, where was your mind at? What did you really want to do? How did you, in the end, what were you thinking when it came long term?
Man, you asked some great questions, man. Y'all, but he professional. See, he said, I asked some questions, bring it out. But the idea, and I'm gonna say this again for a lot of the entrepreneurs out there, your business needs to not become your business. Okay, I don't know how else to explain that more. So when I say your business needs to not become your business, is that you need to create a business in order for you not to be able to run it in the next couple of years. If that makes sense, right? So even with the Airbnb, because I'm away from it, I'm not there to see it myself. I have built a team, right? I built a team to manage it for me. A team of people I trust, people I know, I vetted, right? To manage it, to keep it clean, to talk to the guests, and keep it running while I'm not there. I haven't been to the Airbnb in months at this point. And I don't need to. I don't need to be there because I got a property manager. I got somebody to do the cleaning. I got somebody to cut the grass. I got handymans. So again, this is gonna go out to anybody that wants to start a business. Usually when you start, especially when you don't have a lot of capital. You're probably gonna do a lot of physical labor or physical type of work, probably a lot of car detailings and different things like that. Anything physical and manual labor, it's fine, great, start it, still do it. However, you need to start thinking future wise. You need to get to the point where it's like, okay, how can I duplicate myself? Because if I can duplicate myself, I can not only make more money, yes, but the key here, especially for every business person, is to get more time back. So I got Airbnb started, right? Because I needed money, yes. But I kept it going because I wanted my time back, right? And also why I started the second business as well, because now I'm not there or the Airbnb, like focusing on it. I have time now to focus on something else. So what else can I do to bring another stream of income in, right? And which is also going to lead to when I started the second business with the trash cans, is same thing. I have a team. I'm building a team. I got a partner who I do split it up with, and we also bring in like a third person, and we plan on expanding, not just moving trash cans. Because literally, we just moved the trash can from the house to the road and back to the house. That is it, and I get paid for it. So now, like, what else can I do? Which is probably what I kind of want to do in the first place. Was I wanted to be able to just clean the trash cans, because cleaning trash cans is a thing too. So which I need to go to Florida, by the way, which probably gonna see me in the next year or so down there, because there's a company in Florida that has they do a lot of stuff in Florida, but it's a company in Florida that builds machines that clean trash cans for you, eco-friendly. And I'm the type of person was like, as much as I love coming up with my own business, right? I would much rather, and I'm telling you now, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. Go and buy another business. Okay. They already have it set out. They already got the machines. They already got the plans, the layouts. They got the contacts. I would much rather bring some money to them, have them help me build it with everything they already have. So, turnkey. That's what you want. You want something turnkey that you don't have to think about or do. You just, as soon as you get it started, it's making money. Okay. You start from the bottom like I did when you ain't got none. But once you get something, if you got some money coming in or little something you can put to the side to build up or save, do that and buy a business is already successful. Okay. So you don't have to become, you know, Einstein and recreate something, right? But I'm saying all this to lead me into another business again, because I just do it so well. I get the free time. I work, yeah. I don't let you know. Tomorrow works. I work. People that they got this mindset, we work and we don't take the days off. Yeah, we might take a little small break, but I promise you, even doing that, that brain is working. Bro, I promise you, every time the brain is working. So, with that being said, this is how I got into that financial services industry, because I still got the free time on my hands, right? So now it's getting to the point where, okay, I understand money, but I need to understand it just a little bit more, so where I can not only just do Airbnb, but I can do a whole lot more. Because, be honest with you, I probably want to build a whole city at this point in my mind. Like, I want to build hotels, I want to make, apartment complexes, houses, gardens. It's a whole thing with me. But sorry, I don't mean to be on a tangent. But I got into the financial service industry. So not only did I help people out with Airbnb, but just in general with money, right? Because I want to be that source. I want to be somebody you can depend on, because I didn't have somebody I can depend on. I had to go through YouTube. All my people I'm friends with, guess what? In my mind, they on YouTube. They doing the motivational speakers, they podcasts, they teaching. Those are people I hang out with, right? And now I'm starting to grow and network and do more things in real life, but YouTube podcast, the Down to Business podcast. Listen to it, turn it on. Forget your music. The music is nice and all, but I promise you, when you at the bottom, when you need money, if you like somebody like I was, you don't have time to listen to music. You have time to listen to how to make money. So that's what I did, and got into the financial services, and then learned how to grow money, how money expands, how money works. And now I'm on the path of trying to teach others how to create generational wealth. Because that's what it's going to come down to. The generational wealth is what I want to create, for not just for my family, but for tomorrow's family, for everybody else's family that I come across. So anybody just interested in expanding, right, their knowledge on money, knowledge on wisdom, and it always going to tie back into your spirit life and your health and your wealth, right? All is going to tie together. So that generational wealth is going to create that safe space to, okay, let me eat healthier. I I got the money. That's why I want people to be at. I don't have to keep eating trash because that's all I can afford. I want it to be an option, if anything, right? I want your family to feel like, okay, we don't have to be on the worst side in the neighborhood, right? We can move, we can leave. We don't have to stay if we having problems, right? I want that to be what I do. I want that to be what I can help bring to other people's lives. I want people to have options, and I know creating generational wealth does that. And I hope I answered the question.
No, for sure. It's funny that you kind of ended it like that, just because, like, I was actually just joking with some friends. I was in Raleigh this past weekend, ironically, and it's something I can't remember what came up or what we were talking about, but it came along the lines of something cheap. Maybe it was food or like fast food or something. And I used the line. I said, "Look, we're not broke anymore. We don't have to do that anymore. You know, we don't have to resort back to that." So I firmly agree with, as you start to move into different tax brackets, move into different mindsets, move into different communities and just different groups, because a lot of times too, it's about who you surround yourself with. How are you talking to yourself? What are you waking up every day? What are you affirming? What are you manifesting? Things that I would say I didn't really take as seriously back then that I take seriously now have worked monuments in my life, So it's just about too, as you start to upgrade, as you start to work your way up that totem pole or move through that hierarchy, you realize that there's a different side of life to live, that these people aren't just like doing what they're doing just to do it. Like, they're doing what they're doing because they can do it, and because they see the benefits of it, and because they were once not doing it and they recognize that they don't want to be back there. They don't want to revert back to that lifestyle or what they were doing, but they also then want to pass that on. As you said, we want this to be generational. We don't want this to stop with us and just what we have going on. If at that point the impact wasn't nearly as great or as monumental as it could have been. If I'm continuing this for after I'm gone, for my grandkids, and my great, then I know that I did what I had to do, but I also know that I instilled that into others, into the people around me. And I feel like that's the biggest thing with that. And the fact that I always commend and take my hat off, imaginary, to people who go through things, trials, tribulations, were down low, were broke, were on their last, didn't necessarily know what was going to happen next. But one, work themselves out of that, but then two, want to pay it forward and want to make sure that other people don't have to go through that. That takes a lot, it takes because you don't owe anybody anything. When you were down, when you were on your last or whatever, who was there for you in a sense? What were you listening to? Where were you at when you were waking up and you were behind on that mortgage, or you were trying to figure out the next meal? Where were those people at? But now that you're in the position to be able to do that, now that you're the motivation, and now that you're the light, and now that you're on Front Street for others, I could then just keep it the way that I want to. And some people may look at that career for some type of way, but I don't owe anybody anything, because when I needed something or when I felt like I was owed, what did I have to do? I had to work my way out of that grind and really grind harder. It was either stay broke or figure something out to get this mortgage paid before I get evicted, or before I'm really nowhere to rent anything out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the fact that then people take their trial, their tribulation, and they turn it into a success story, but then they also pay it forward, and they also make sure that the next man doesn't have to go through what they went through, or we can expedite it, or I can put everything in front of you to give you the resources. I think that's enough in itself. And I love to hear that, man. I think it just takes a special type of person to be able to do that. And that's not to knock anybody who's not doing that, because again, you can make it out of where you made it out of, come from the bottom, do whatever, and be okay and live your life on your own terms. That's perfectly fine. But as I said, it tugs at my heartstrings when I see other people wanting to do that, because that's the big thing here with the podcast. I just want to be able to educate. I just want to recognize that there were a lot of things that I did not know about, from real estate to healthcare to clothing to the entertainment industry to artificial intelligence to college planning. I talk to everybody. I feel like I talk to every single industry, even industries that I didn't even know existed at this point. And I've learned things. I've heard terminology. I've even asked questions that may seem like I'm asking it for my audience, but I'm asking it for myself, because I don't know things. And I'm just trying to figure out, hey, what you just said a word there. And I feel like you said that word as if I should know what that means, but I don't know what that means. So can you tell me what that means, please? But I'm gonna say, hey, my audience doesn't know what that means. What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the fact that at the end of the day, paying it forward, that education, wanting somebody to be better off than how you met them, that it just takes a different type of person to be able to do that, bro. And that drive is totally different. So, okay, I'm hearing that, business was just propelling business, idea was just propelling idea. But I'm also hearing that, you had to the average, not the average person, but let me play devil's advocate in a sense, and not really an advocate, but I want to ask this question the way that I want to ask. So I know that, let's just say I want to get involved with Airbnb, but let's just say I feel like you had a special scenario in which you already had a property that you took advantage of and you chose to rent that out and then make it happen and then get enough success, build enough reports, and then be able to get out of that property, completely make it available, and now we're here. What do you say to someone who wants to get into Airbnb, who wants to start this process, who wants to get into that education and things like that, but are not necessarily in your situation of more so having something that they can rent out? How can people get into Airbnb? How can people really start to make money in this lane if they don't necessarily feel like they have an offering or have something to give to people right away?
It was a great question. And I'm glad you asked that because it's going to be somebody that look back at this and be like, well, how did you do it? You probably already had a house. And yes, I did. It was a very special situation. And that's why I was blessed to have it. All praises. And, again, even if you're not if you didn't have my situation where you had a house before pre-COVID, before, the spikes of the prices and everything went up, this, again, I just explained, there's plenty of ways to get into it. The main thing is, and I want people to understand this, it takes money to make money. Like, it takes money to make money. Even starting the Airbnb, it took money. Like, I had to buy the house regardless, or I had to get the things for the house. I had to buy a bed. I had to do all the stuff. So that means I had to go to work. I had to do stuff I didn't want to do, like far as just working a whole 9 to 5 job. And nobody really wants to continue to work for a job that you don't want to be at, especially when you feel like you're not growing. But it's just one of them things, especially when you're at the bottom and you like, if you like out how I was and you didn't have anything, you have to work. Like, there's no other way around it. You have to work and make money. Okay. Just make enough money. That's all you have to do is make enough money. And with that being said, if you can make just enough money, you can also get into Airbnb arbitrage. Right? There's a whole other route you can go, which I believe you had somebody to talk about that before. But yeah, the Airbnb arbitrage, man, that's a great way to go. Far as you don't have to own the property, right? You just have to be able to know you just have to be able to manage the property. Okay. Property management. Or you can do something similar to what I do. Like I said, you find a problem that they have and make money off of that, as far as dealing with trash cans. Because what, I'm not in every city. So wherever you're watching is at, it might be available in your city. You might got some Airbnb hosts around. You just got to figure out, you just got to get into them. You got to talk to them. You got to reach out to them. Right. So they might be needed where you at. I can't be everywhere. Right. And I mean, like I said, the Turo, the cars, I mean, cutting grass, believe me, Airbnb hosts need cutting grass, putting furniture together. I do another task, which again, I'll give y'all all the sauce. I'm pretty transparent with what I do. I do what I call a runner service as well on top of the trash can service, which is basically I'm already going to their property already. So now I'm adding a service where I check in on the property when there's not a guest there. Like, I make sure stuff is not broken, the toilet's still flushing, the light bulbs are working, the air filters get changed, little simple stuff like that. People will pay you money for that. And if you just, again, you get that first one, you're going to get more. And you just continue to do that, right? Until you just got enough money. Now, it just comes with that discipline, right? After the words, you got to have that discipline not to spend your money on the little stuff. And a lot of people, when you first get a business, you're going to make money. And in the beginning, I promise you, you're going to spend that money because you're like, oh, I got extra money now, this, that, and the third. But then you forget that, guess what? When you got a business, at some point, something is going to break. And I learned that when I had Airbnb. I had no problems when I was staying there, but when I moved out, the doors want to break, windows want to get messed up, furniture need to get replaced, beds need to get replaced, washer dry break. Okay, it's gonna happen. So while you're going through your journey, while you're making money, and while you start growing, learn how to put some money aside, or just don't spend the money until you really need to spend it. Okay. And that's one of the best things I can tell you with that. But outside of that, I want to just plug in my service real quick because it's just one of the things that is helping other people get into Airbnb, into rental properties and things as well. Get into the financial services. With what I do, you can do it part-time, you can do this full-time if you really so choose. I do still recommend doing part-time until you really establish yourself. But you can get into the financial services. Find me. You find me on the social media. I can help you get there. You can make commission money. You get paid commissions. It's not a base pay, it's not a salary pay, which is great. You don't want that because with commission pay, and this is for those that want to get into buying your own properties and later on in the future, you have to work, right? Get a job where you sell. If you can sell something, I promise you, you can make a lot of money by selling. So this is something you can get into with the financial services, selling products, right? selling products or selling a service. With us, that's what you do, financial services. All you do is help clients set up maybe some dealing with life insurance, maybe help them set up a retirement plan, maybe help set up with their college planning, or maybe some long-term care comes into place. Whatever the case is, right? People need help, especially in today's time with financial services. So this is an opportunity for those out there that's looking for something part-time or maybe looking for something full-time to get started with it. Okay. There's no cap. Okay. You can make as much money as you want to make. This is your business, just like any other business. It's up to you, though. So if you don't have that mindset, that entrepreneur mindset to go out there and make it happen, you won't make money. Because again, this is commission based. You eat what you kill, right? So again, this is something you need to get into and link into it right after this podcast. Okay. Now, even if it's not this, even if it's not financial services, learn how to go sell something. Whether it's shoes, shirts, clothes, I don't care. If you can sell something, you can make money. Or if you can just solve a problem, you can make money. Either one of those things, you make money, you put that money to buying a real estate property. Easy, the best thing you can do. Outside of that, Airbnb arbitrage. You still need money for furniture, though. Remember that. You can do all this property management all you want to. You still gonna need to buy some furniture. So just a couple $3,000 to $5,000 maybe will probably be plenty enough to start where you can furnish a small house, right? That's all you need. Outside of that, talk to owners. If you want to get into the Airbnb space, talk to somebody who has the Airbnb, or maybe somebody who's trying to sell a property, right? Do a owner finance, which is what I do recommend. Owner finance is where the owners of the house become the bank. So if you can't go get a loan like some people get, because people got bad credit, I understand. I was there, still kind of there, but you can't get $200,000, $500,000 loans. I get it. Owner finance, where the owner becomes the bank, and you just pay the owner what the mortgage would be, maybe a little bit more, and you use their property for Airbnb. Just sit down, have a conversation with them, let them know what you're trying to do, see what the do's and don'ts would be if it was to happen, and then you just make it happen. Just have a couple thousand, maybe $5,000 max, probably to start off. Furnish the place. You got it. And I hope I answered that question.
It's a lot of gems in here, man. I really hope people are just listening and tapping in, brother. But as you spoke to, it always is going to take money to make money with anything, with any industry, with the podcast, just with, I was telling people just my goals and even telling myself my goals. And I was just like, as I'm writing things down and as I'm trying to plan things out, it's like I have to make those investments. And whereas before, like I shied away from a lot of things because I just felt like it was too much, or maybe that's not where I'm at, or maybe I was even really trying to figure out the vision for the podcast itself. Well, now that I'm clear cut on it, now that I'm in the LLC space, and now that I'm in the funding space and everything like that, I recognize that I'm not going to get anywhere without paying. I'm not going to get, and even when because as you even move up and as you scale bigger and as you start to automate and delegate and be that runner service or be that task rabbit or be that finance person, you're still going to have to spend money. You're still going to have to, but the money that you're spending, you're going to be making that and then some. You want your money to be making money in a sense. And I'm in the point now where I just want it to be as passive as possible. And the more that I can just, the more that I don't have to dish out, but the more that I know is that it's coming in and I just keep everything the way that I have it, it'll always be a fluid system. So something that I think about with you and just everything, that's kind of how everything has kind of come to fruition and how everything has propelled in itself, is just like, it's almost like a trickle effect. It's almost like one thing kind of started the next, and then one thing started the next, and then you ask questions or you sat down with certain people. And as you start to move, you'll even start to see that more things may happen. You come to Florida, it could open your eyes to some it's a totally different lifestyle here. So I know for sure that you could be of service to so many people here. And even just thinking about my situation. So I always like to ask this question because I recognize that people are going to now find you at a different point in their journey. There are going to be some people who tapped in live that are now going to be like, okay, I'm keeping up with the journey at this point. There are going to be some people that hear this episode when it airs and meet you where you are then. So for everybody, in a sense, and even for myself and even for you, without kind of spoiling anything, without disclosing anything that we don't need to disclose just yet, because maybe it hasn't made the forefront just yet, what's next? What are you kind of thinking of? Is there anything that you're looking to move into, experiment with? Is there anything you're looking to debut? Any new places? I know we spoke about Florida a little bit. So any new places or spaces that we can expect to see DeAndre in as we continue to move forward?
Hey man, he good, y'all. I don't think y'all understand. Yes, he asked great questions. Probably on the next episode that we do together, Probably going to the non-profit organization. That's my next venture. I don't want to, like I say, I don't want to go too much into it just yet because it's too many gyms and it's gonna take so much time. But hey, find a problem and solve it. Non-profit organizations are a great way to start. So go with it.
Sounds like we'll have a lot to talk about in that next discussion because that's also a space that I'm trying to move into. It's been something that I've been thinking about for a while. I have the idea, I have the plan. I've even revealed it a few times on the podcast episode. So if somebody was really smart, they would have started it. But I'm not going to wait that nobody would do me like that and that y'all can't do it the way I'm going to do it. And maybe y'all forgot even what it's about. So if y'all have, okay, don't start clicking back now on the other episodes and trying to find things. It's okay. You don't know because I don't even know where I mentioned it. So it's all good. But maybe I do. But no, I DeAndre, as I said, bro, it was really just a pleasure to be able to connect. It was really just, to hear that. And I kind of just got a little upset because I mute myself so that sirens don't happen. Yet the sirens still happen. But it's all good. We're downtown. It's gonna happen. But I really just, as I said, I think about where we kind of were able to acquaint with one another and where we were at that time. And 2014 was a very long time ago. But everything that's happened from then, from being an essential worker as I was just the same, to navigating through a pandemic, to really coming on the other side of that pandemic, and some places recovering a bit better than others, and some things, some things kind of returning to normalcy, but other things just becoming now a standard and just an accepted thing. It's amazing to see everything that you were doing and how you were able to capitalize. And while that capitalization may not have been the easiest thing to do, you stuck it out and you made it happen regardless. So as I said, man, I commend that. We support that. We love that. And we're excited. We're excited to even see what's to come because, you're always thinking. I can just see it. I can just tell the insight and the conversation that we've had today, but even from how you've interacted with my other episodes, you're always kind of thinking and you're moving and grooving, but it really just goes to show that, as you said, you've in a sense, you found the core here, the principle. Really realize that at the end of the day, it's about recognizing that every problem has a solution. It's just, have you found it yet? Or are you willing to find it? Or are you willing to go put in the legwork to be able to combat that? So before we close out, before we tell people all the places they can tap in with you and find you and everything of the sort and follow along the journey, do you feel like there's anything that we haven't touched on today that you want to leave for the people, whether it be last words for business owners, entrepreneurs, people looking to just get into that creative space, people looking to just make some more money? Or do you feel like, because I feel like there are going to be people, as I said, who are here now, who are tapping in, who are hearing this episode, but there are also going to be people who are coming along this, may know nothing about either one of us and are finding it at a later date that may just need to hear something. Because, I feel like with this, you gave people some gems and some tips and tricks and some things to consider, some things to look at from an arbitrage perspective. Some people may not even know how to spell arbitrage nor what it means. But after this episode, they're going to be typing it into Google to figure out what's really happened, or reaching out to you to really figure out, hey, what did you mean by that? Or, hey, can I start? So you're telling me that these same people who I'm renting from and paying from, I could be having conversations with them and letting them know, hey, this is what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to be at. People may even find themselves in Greenville or in Raleigh wanting to seek your services. So is there anything out there that you just want to leave for the people, anybody tapping into this episode?
Man, so much you can say, right? So much you can say, but I leave y'all with, if y'all made it to the end, hey, this is probably one of the best parts right here. If y'all made it to the end. And I leave with this quote that I like a whole lot for whatever reason. It just really stuck with me. I heard Jim Rohn say it first. I don't know if y'all know the motivation speaker Jim Rohn, but he did bring it up. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. I'm going to say it one more time. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because when you work hard on your job, you can definitely make a living. But when you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. And that's really the best way I can sum up so many words in just a small amount. So keep that in mind, everybody.
Woo, I love that. Yeah, for those of y'all who don't know about Jim Rohn, definitely just y'all need to get into that and tap into that and really just take that from a critical perspective. So I love that, bro. As I said, I thank you for just everything that you've poured into my platform and just the fact that you want us to be on the platform in general. I think that just means a whole lot, and that's what it's for. So yes, I'm happy, brother. I'm glad that we were able to connect. As I said, when you first scheduled this interview and you told me that you wanted to kind of just make sure that you had things rocking and rolling, well, I think you came with that and then some, brother. So I thank you. I appreciate you. But this is the last part, the best part, the call to action, the part where I really, it really goes to show, one, who was really listening, who was really tapping in, but who really wants to be serious, who really wants to make things happen and go from there. So for everybody tapping in, for everybody listening to this episode in some capacity, in some form or fashion, where can they find you? From social media to websites to anything like that? What are the best places to reach you? Give us everything you got.
Hey, well, the easiest place to find me is probably gonna be that Facebook. I'm big on Facebook. I do a lot of my reposting, a lot of reposting on Facebook, but I'm still there. I'm very active on it. So we just search up my name, DeAndre Pierce. You should definitely see my face in a little nice professional photo up there with it for my Facebook page. Also linked to my Instagram is DeAndre underscore Pierce official. And Instagram again is DeAndre DeAndre Pierce Pierce official on Instagram. So those are the two main places you can find me, and just reach out to me with any questions you might have about Airbnb, arbitrage, the financial services. If you're looking for something part-time and just want to make some extra money, hey, I can definitely help you out with that too as well. But again, follow my boy Tamar. Okay, follow the Down to Business podcast. If you ain't hit that link, if you ain't hit the follow yet, if you ain't hit the like button yet, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need more of this. He needs more of this, right? Because he needs to spread this more. He needs to talk to more influencers, talk to more business owners, because he's doing this generation a favor right now. Okay, so please support that. That's it.
Well, I appreciate that, bro, for sure. And, I definitely do think that once our networks intertwine, there's a lot to come. I doubt this is our last conversation, but I think the first one was just a great benchmark, a great foundation, and a great trend to just be able to set, to really just, one, be able to motivate, but educate, and really just, in a sense, to call out and enlighten, just to see who's really going to, take into, because now I'm curious. Now I have some questions now, because I knew about the arbitrage from just people who I spoke to just me also wanting to get into Airbnb myself. So we will definitely be in touch, my brother. I have no doubt about that. We have plenty more episodes coming, plenty more content to get out there, and you have plenty more things to do just the same. So to everybody out there who continuously taps in, whether you joined us from DeAndre's side, from my side, whether you just were kind of on Facebook and you somehow came across this, or in some capacity, however you're hearing this episode, I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. This has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast, here with Tamar Turner.